Greetings, my fellow freedom-lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date, Wednesday, July 1st, 2015. Wow, I have to admit, time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, just gonna do mostly stuff domestic related at this time. A few things we got a question. However, try to avoid all the media hype and hoopla and exploitation, divide and rule. However, I'm going to do a few of those articles in there. But I just recently got this from a show on with the Power Hour, which they had a gentleman named Larry Pinkney, who was one of the original members of the Black Panther Party, and it was a real fantastic interview. I think I posted on my Facebook page. Definitely check it out on the exploitation and so forth. Plus, it was one of his colleagues named Reverend Edward Pinkney was fighting like I could say fascism in his state of Michigan, and Whirlpool is one of them. So I'm going to be addressing that in Benton Harbor to be exact. So and I want to read this on everything I want to address will be on my Spreaker page, so, bear with me. Not bear with me, but check it out and always observe responsibly. So, it says here, about to write to Pinkney. It's at Lakeland Correctional Facility, Reverend Edward Pinkney, number 294671. 141 First Street, Coldwater, Michigan, 49036. Reverend Pinkney arrested again. Supporters. Lynn Stewart, Voice of Detroit, exposed. Lee Camp, Free Pinkney. Workers World, Green Party Watch, a Black Agenda report. What's really happening to the people of Benton Harbor, which is in Michigan. And this came out today, Wednesday, July 1st, 2015. And it says here, we must stand together. I, Reverend Edward Pinkney, with love, am giving a moral assessment of many of my fellow ministers, black and white. I must admit that even the black and the white church have often been tail light rather than a headlight. I am admonishing the clergy for not confronting the great social political issues of our time. Even as congregants live in the midst of poverty, I cannot abide ministers who preach pious irrelevancies and sanctimonious trivialities. I rebuke all ministers of their obsession with rampant materialism. We have been more concerned about the size of the wheel based on our automobiles and the amount of people we get on our anniversaries. May call is to give a new vitality to the Church of Jesus Christ. I believe that a great tragedy is that Christians fail to see that they have the revolutionary edge. We must all work together, black, white, brown, and all others. It is rich against poor and haves against have-nots. It is not black against white. We must stand together. In order for the trial court to submit a case to the jury on an aiding and abetting theory for forgery, there must be constitutionally sufficient evidence that the defendant aided and abetted that person or helped somebody who forged or recalled petitions. When there's is insufficient evidence to allow charges to be submitted to the jury on an aiding and abetting theory, the trial court committed reversible error by giving an aiding and abetting instruction to the jury, along with the instruction that indicates that the jury may convict the defendant as the principal. The evidence is sufficient to support a verdict, and the evidence was insufficient to support any theory. This case should have never gone to the jury. There is absolutely no evidence to support a conviction by any jury, especially a rogue jury. A rogue jury is a jury that ignores the law and evidence in reaching a capricious verdict. They base their verdict on unrevealed, deeply held prejudices. The all-white jury was motivated by something other than the truth. We live in a county called Berrien County in the southwest corner of Michigan, where the majority of white people are racist, including the United States Representative Fred Upton, heir to the Whirlpool Corporation, State Senator John Pruce, State House Representative Al Pachola, Berrien County racist Judge Sterling Schrock, Angela Pusla, Charles T. Lasada, Scott Schofield, and Art Cotter, along with Prosecutor Michael Sepik and Sheriff Bailey, all openly practice racism. Most whites do not want to discuss racism and would say, "I'm not a racist," with their own mouth, but in their heart they are really racist and willing to attack minorities. Berrien County has a majority of white residents who openly practice racism, and the rest are great people, but are silent and refuse to stand up to racism or speak up. So that makes them complicit with the rest of the white residents, including pastors, ministers, churches, and elected officials. I, Reverend Edward Pinckney, with the love, am giving a moral assessment of many of my fellow ministers, black and white. I must admit that even the black and the white church have often been a taillight rather than a headlight. I am admonishing the clergy for not confronting the great social-political issues of our time, even as congregants live in the midst of poverty. I cannot abide ministers who preach pious irrelevancies and sanctimonious trivialities. I rebuke all ministers for their obsession with rampant materialism. We have been more concerned about the size of the wheelbase on our automobiles and the amount of money we can get on our anniversaries. My call is to give a new kind of vitality to the Church of Jesus Christ. I believe that the great tragedy that Christians have failed to see that they have the revolutionary edge. We must work together, black, white, brown, and all others. It is race, rich against poor, and have against have-nots, not against black against white. We must stand together. Reverend Pinckney. I know if I repeat it with the big bold prints, and I do apologize for that. But I like to thank Larry Pinckney for bringing that out, and one of the callers that recommended that as well, because this is just another example of tyranny. If they could do it to the black folks, they could do it to the white folks and beyond. It's a domino effect. It's just completely unacceptable, and I condemn that. And the people have to understand too, as a juror, you are one of the most powerful people in the courtroom. You could tell the judge, the sheriff, and the prosecutor attorney to stick it by exercising jury nullification. I know I've addressed this in the past on my episodes. You can look it up. However, I will just add fully informed jury association and talks about jury nullification. I might just do a couple of links and possibly jury box as well, but I'm going to maybe do like one or two at the most. But at least will be one up there. And the whole thing is this. Boycott Whirlpool. Okay? Boycott them. As it says here, boycott Whirlpool and subsidiaries. Amana Estate, Gladiator Garage Works, Insperience, John Air, KitchenAid, Magic Chef, Maytag, Roper, Acros, Inglis, Bacanet, Brastemp, Admiral, IKEA, Appliances, and some Kenmore. I could tell you this. They need us more we need them. You gotta get them where it hurts. Because I know I've been looking at some of the past stuff here. I did post something on Facebook about him being a political prisoner. Because he fought against these big fascistic corporations trying to take over. Trying to take over the state of the towns in Michigan. So this is very disturbing, my friends. And because they could do it to him, they could do it to any of us. Reverend Pinckney is just a prime example. And we have many others here as well. So you just hit the home spot here. And I keep spreading this word. And like I said, I've been doing other stuff. However, I do give a damn what happens over there. Because people got to keep tabs. I will add the link on here as well. Okay, so everything I address will be on my Spreaker page. So please don't be shy on sharing this. Everything I put out, share it, download it, circulate this throughout your entire network. Because if you could do it to him, they could do it to any of us. So definitely, you got to tell these vultures, tyrannical vultures, to stick it. Don't be afraid. As always, what I say before, what Thomas Jefferson's greatest quote, a little rebellion now and then is good. Okay? Don't, like I said, action conquers fear. Pray for this man. Show his support. By even if you can't even donate the money, which is understandable, definitely spread this message. It has to be going out in the mainstream media. So definitely get this out ASAP. Alright, next one here. This is from Truth Out, and it came out yesterday to be exact. And it's interesting article. It says here, thousands kept in solitary confinement in Illinois prisons. This is by Olivia Ekstrom for the Chicago Reporter, and there's an infographic as well. You can do a full size on how many people are in here and so forth, and we can do that right here. By number of solitary confinements in Illinois, 2,300 inmates in Illinois state prisons are kept in solitary confinement. That's 5% of the total prison population. And it says here, number of solitary confinements by offenses: damage or misuse of property, 500. Intimidations or threats, 300. Possession of drug or drug paraphernalia, 150. Unauthorized movement, 1,500. Insolence, 1,300. Non-dangerous contrabands, 800. Violation of rules, 1,600. Disobeying direct order, 1,500. The source came from the Vera Institute of Justice, which came out in 2013, and it says inmates can be isolated for years. 60%. Wow, like over 60%. That's under a year, or 30% more than 1 year, 10% more than 10 years. Can be isolated. This is from the Illinois Department of Corrections in 2013 from the Chicago Reporter, so you can put that link on there. And I will continue reading here. A class action lawsuit filed this week on behalf of former and current inmates is challenging the widespread use of solitary confinement by the Illinois Department of Corrections. A total about 2,300 prison inmates, including about 50% of those housed in maximum security facilities, are kept in solitary confinement, often for relatively minor offenses, said Alan Mills, executive director of the Uptown People's Law Center, which filed a legal challenge with the law firm Winston & Strawn. Solitary confinement is generally defined as 22 to 24 hours of isolation a day and can last years, he said. The United Nations considered isolation lasting 15 days or longer to be torture. I don't know anybody who spent more than a few months in solitary who doesn't come quite damaged, Mills told the reporter. The suit is aimed at getting the state corrections department to implement the American Bar Association standard on segregation, which limit how long individuals are held in solitary confinement and recommend that people living with mental illness not be subject to punishment. The Illinois Corrections declined to comment on the lawsuit. And that's pretty interesting because I know there is, of course, the Eighth Amendment about torture and cruel and unusual punishment, the Eighth Amendment. I know there's I believe in the Illinois Constitution, there's Article 1, I don't know the section top of my head, but I'm going to add that to the memo as well, because I do have to find that very important. I'm going to just write this down as we speak, because it's a real damn shame, my friends, yeah, when you got folks out there are trying to get treated like pieces of garbage. And I do find this really unacceptable. But I am going to add that to my memo as well, to the Illinois Constitution. So hopefully I'll get some more information. And if I do, I will put this out. and I think the Chicago Reporter, who is a not-for-profit investigative news organization that focuses on race, poverty, and income inequality. Is it income equality? Inequality. But it's really scary stuff. Especially even with some of the private prison firms, too, can pull a lot more fast ones. There's a lot of big claims on that as well. So definitely got to keep our eyes out and pay attention. And like I said, people deserve time. Sometimes their rights are privileges, but don't make it overbearing, especially when which is some petty shit or petty crap to be exact. So if I use some vulgarity, forgive me on that, but something I get a little bit disturbed for sure. So I'm gonna hit the next one here. This one here, came from naturalnews.com. I like to think one of my pen pals from Facebook that posted it on here. Got a little bit inspired. And this is here. U.S. Congress considered mandating vaccinations for all school children. It came out today by Jonathan Benson. As it reads here, your God-given right as a parent to choose the best and the safest medical interventions from your children is under attack by a Democratic Congresswoman from Florida. Representative Frederica S. Wilson from the 24th District, North Miami, really recently introduced the Vaccine All Children Act of 2015, which in a nutshell would force vaccination of all children as a requirement to attend public school. No longer would parents have the freedom to opt out of this form of medical assault using personal or philosophical exemptions. State would be required under Representative Wilson's bill to basically scrap these exemptions in order to continue receiving federal funding, which amounts to the same kind of tyranny our nation's founders sacrificed their lives to escape. Wilson's bill, if passed, would be the first established by a federal vaccination requirement to attend school, reports the Autism Action Network. Current vaccines policies are set by the states, but with the increase in federal control over schools, with no child left behind and the Common Core, Wilson's bill, psych, an indicator of what is coming. Parents, your government overlords no longer want you in charge of your children's health. Verbiage from the bill reads as follows: for a state or political subdivision of or other public entity of a state to be eligible to receive a grant under this section, the applicant shall demonstrate to Secretary's satisfaction that the states require each student enrolled in one of the state's public elementary schools or public secondary schools to be vaccinated in accordance with the recommendations of the Advisory Committee or Immunization Practices. As you'll notice, there are no mentions whatsoever of parental involvement with this important decision-making process. The state, assuming the role of every child's guardian, will have sole discretion in dictating how many vaccines as a child receives and when. It is the epitome of despotic government overreach in the name of public health. This bill would be an unprecedented expansion of the federal government into an area of law and policy long recognized as a preserved of the states, adds the Autism Action Network. It ignores the principle of informed choice as a bedrock of any ethical medical procedure and eliminates any parental say over what is injected into their child's bodies. America is rapidly turning into a medical dictatorship. Are you going to sit idly and watch your children's future disappear? As of this writing, Representative Wilson's House Resolution 2032 has no co-sponsors, and because this tyrant is a Democrat trying to increase federal desecration of personal liberty in a Republican majority Congress. Her bill presumably doesn't have a chance actually passing, but the fact is that even been proposed is cause enough for concern. And parents, you could be forced to receive injections as well if medical fascists like Representative Wilson get their way. As pointed out by the Daily Sheeple, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, in the process for crafting a national adult immunization plan that were scheduled for vaccines for adults. This means that should mandatory vaccination legislation ever come to be in the U.S., adults as well as children could be forced into getting jabbed with poison cocktails that may result in permanent injury or death. H.R. 2232 defines the de facto vaccine standard of the developed democracies which allow parents to make the final choice, warns the Autism Action Network. There are no such thing as required vaccines in Canada, Japan, Germany, the UK, Ireland, Israel, Holland, Belgium, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, etc. To let Representative Wilson know how you feel at her attempt at overrunning your parental authority, you can contact her at 305-690-5905 or 202-225-4506, or there's a Facebook page, facebook.com// to be exact, REP, which is Rep Wilson, WILSON. And they have so many sources to this matter. And I have to say this to Representative Wilson. You are nothing more than a fascistic buffoon, an Aunt Jemima to the New World Order, and I say that ethically. Who the hell you think you are trying to tell people that you're going to have to force the vaccination of our children? You don't own them. You're just a servant, not a mistress. Miss Wilson, you're nothing more than a Jezebelian scum queen to the New World Order, based on this particular bill and other treasonous practices. And I don't care if I hurt your feelings or not. I'll let you know this for sure. You just breached your oath of office by defending, protecting, and preserving the U.S. Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. As far as I'm concerned, you are an enemy to our constitutional republic. You should just turn yourself in and say, I am unfit, I am aiding the enemy, comforting, which is the New World Order. And I will tell you this, it actually violates the 9th Amendment U.S. Constitution, which is enumerations, the 10th Amendment, states' rights, and the 13th Amendment, involuntary servitude. You want to conscript people to get shot if they want to attend certain public schools. That is wrong. Dead wrong. And I condemn you for this. I was never impressed with your practice. I seen your track record. It's pathetic. You're weak, pathetic Congresswoman. I don't give a damn what party you're in. To me, that's unmeritable. Deep down inside, you know I'm right. I will continue on here. This is from the Natural Blaze. And this is really scary stuff here. And it talks about here, murdered third alternative prominent doctor from Florida found dead in 2 weeks. Dr. Teresa A. Sivers found dead June 29, 2015. Is by Erin Elizabeth. And authorities say MD was murdered. It's been a tragic few weeks, and hearts goes out to family and friends of the doctors. First had a controversial autism researcher, Dr. Jeff Bradstreet. MD was found dead in the river with a gunshot wound to his chest and died around June 19th. His friend and family started a memorial page on June 20th in his honor on Facebook. I waited 3 days after that report to start the story out of respect. A few still write that I shouldn't cover these stories, but I am a journalist. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, I got lost here. I waited 3 days after I waited 3 days after that to report the story out of respect. A few still write that I shouldn't cover these stories, but I am a journalist, and as I've repeatedly said, it brought me no joy to report the news. Dr. Bradstreet had just lived 45 minutes from us here in Florida. Then we have Dr. Handel, DC PhD, who died suddenly on Father's Day. Sources tell me that he was found in his car and had died, but the car was not running. There was no car accident, they said. He was just in his car, deceased. He had exercised earlier in the day, and they tell me that he was in top shape. He had his PhD in nutrition from Harvard, and some say he was a pillar of health. These sources didn't know the cause of death. Not sure if anyone knows yet. Dr. Bradstreet's case is still under investigation. We're not sure about Dr. Handel. Both had dealt with run-ins with the feds in the past. In fact, Dr. Bradstreet's office was just raided by the feds days before he died. Our heart goes out to both families and their friends and loved ones. Now we have the beautiful, intelligent Teresa Ann Sivers, MD, here in Florida. In her bio on her website, talk about her many accomplishments and degrees as a medical doctor who believed in holistic alternative approach. She lived in an upscale, nice neighborhood where neighbors said they rarely, if ever, had problems. So 3 doctors in less than 2 weeks are found dead. We are heartbroken and have more doctors contacting us, as my significant other is a prominent doctor also in Florida. From the breaking news articles about her death, killing of a popular estero doctor has left family and friends puzzled and saddened. The body of Dr. Teresa Ann Sivers, 46, was found Monday morning at her Jarvis Road home after she didn't arrive at work. We didn't know anything, but she was murdered, said Sivers' sister, Annalisa, 52. She said Sivers, her husband, and children had come to Connecticut for a gathering, and her sister flew home alone Sunday. We cannot imagine what the family is going through at this time. This article goes on to say, Lee County Sheriff's Office declined to discuss the case, saying it was an ongoing homicide investigation, but assured neighbors there was no threat in the area, but they reminded residents to lock their doors. Sadly, Dr. Sivers leaves behind a husband, Mark, and the 2 daughters who are 8 and 10. We will update the article as we know more here in Florida. I was just in Bonita Springs a week ago and met so many people in the holistic and medical community. Another article talks of a reward that had an anonymous number at the end of the piece that you can call to report tips of numbers. Again, we'll report as more becomes available and ask that everyone stay safe and alert. Here's a clip of the video from NBC2 on the murder of Bonita Springs, Fort Myers, Cape Coral. That's the station. And it says here, Erin Elizabeth is a longtime health nut with a passion for healing arts for nearly 25 years, founder of Health Nut News, where this article first appeared. She's an author, a public speaker, an advocate for healthy living. You can get Erin's books here for free, and also watch short documentary on how she overcame vax injuries, Lyme's disease, a significant weight gain, and more. Follow Erin on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. P.S. Sign up for her YouTube channel with informative health videos, giveaways, and breaking news stories. This is how I look at this right now, and I see this out of respect. It's another version of the war on terror, going after health doctors or alternative or natural or the holistic alternative medicine doctors, journalists, free thinkers, freedom lovers. It is just an example, and I find it's pretty damn disturbing. Don't be surprised if there's a federal connection to this, especially by the big pharmaceutical industry. They want these people gone. They want us to be dumb, stagnant, and happy. Plus, it really gets my goat. Really disturbing. But Everyone has to stay alert. Communicate with these doctors. Stay in touch with them that still practice this field, and let them know you're not alone. We will support your cause because Big Pharma don't want their practices alive and active. They are considered a threat based on past issues and stories and reports. And may their souls be forever free. And hopefully justice will prevail for all of them. And I gotta say it's enough of that. Next one here. Oops. Came from King Street News, to be exact. And if I'm correct, this is about the church fires that's been happening along South Carolina, which is very disturbing. And this was entitled, Cause of Fire Remains Unknown. It is by Michael Duke. It was updated today in the afternoon, 2:44 p.m. The cause of a June 30th fire that gutted the Mount Zion AME Church on Highway 357 has not been determined. The statement came during a press conference at 10 a.m. this morning after the fire. ATF agent Craig Chilcott says it's premature to make a cause of origin or determination before investigators have done what they need to do. We're not going to get into specifics of the investigation, said Chilcott, ATF agent in charge for South Carolina. What can I tell you is we've got everybody here humanly possible to investigate it, and we're going to let the facts determine it. Chilcott said the result could take a week or more before the determination is made. Depending on how the integrity of the church, how dangerous is it for the investigators to enter the building, and what equipment will be needed. Elder Alan Parrott said the church will remain strong. We're a little distressed when something happens in the place of worship, said Parrott. It causes you to feel a great deal of remorse, but at the same time we are left with our hope. Williamsburg, Kingstree, Clarendon, Berkeley, and South Lynch fire departments doused the blaze. South Carolina Law Enforcement Division are investigating. The original MT Zion AME Church, which was located a few miles from where the Tuesday night fire took place, was burnt to the ground on June 25, 1995, ago in a hate crime by two KKK members. A year later, President Bill Clinton attended the dedication to the new church. Read the entire story on the upcoming July 8th issue of the news. So as these church burnings is happening, they're going to try to use this. How I'm seeing this, it's been a little bit too obvious. I am looking at this as allegedly a mind control program. I say allegedly. I could be mistaken. But when I heard a few of these church burnings that happen in those areas, they want to try to use the whole black against white mentality and let everyone know, don't fall in their game. That is that is considered entrapment. Don't get caught in their trick bag. Please stay focused, pay attention, and read between the lines. There's so many folks out there trying to get you in hook, line, and sinker. Very good example, the Confederate flag debacle, which everyone was distracted in that, and they forget about the TPA, the TPP, which was a road to technocracy that occurred on the floor in Washington, D.C. So remember, watch the distractions. That's letting your guard down, because you got some vultures out there could make it a lot bigger. So definitely, hopefully justice will prevail, and no more church burnings, please. I don't care if it's a mosque, temple, a cathedral, etc. I may have disagreements with people's views, but you know what? It's wrong. Dead wrong. But definitely got to really stay focused and hang in there, okay? Pray for those folks. Alright, next one here I find is pretty hilarious in my view. But we just got to find out how accurate this really is, how authentic. This is the KKK plan for a pro-Confederate flag rally in South Carolina. It is by the Huffington Post by Sebastian Murdoch. And, I'm not a big fan of that. It came out on the 30th of June, to be exact. And let's just read what it has to say. Members of the Ku Klux Klan have announced plans to rally next month in South Carolina in support of the Confederate flag. State officials confirmed to the Washington Post that the Loyal White Knights chapter of the KKK got permission to meet at the State House in Columbia on July 18th. The group's website said it's the largest Klan in America. Oh, really? Okay. I was wondering how many people they're going to hire to make that happen, allegedly speaking. James Spears, whose title is Great Titan of Pelham, North Carolina group, told Politico the rally would center around the organization's opposition to the Confederate flag being removed from the outside the State House, which is the Confederate battle flag to be exact, folks, which Spears told publication was done for all the wrong reasons. It's part of the white people's culture, he said. Okay. I just wonder why we had 3,000 to 10,000 Jews fought for the Confederacy. So think about that, my friends. I did talk about that in my past episode, so you can look it up. The rally is set to take place just a month after 21-year-old Dylan Roof allegedly opened fire in a black church in Charleston, killed 9 people, while the community continues to heal. And some family members of victims have forgiven Roof. Spears told Politico he feels sorry for the boy. I think he picked the wrong target, Spears said. A better target for him would have been these gangbangers running around rapping, and stealing. Robert Jones, the Grand Dragon for the chapter, told Charleston area newspaper The Post and Courier that Roof is a young warrior. Representative for the Loyal White Knights did not immediately respond to a request for comment. This is our state, and they are not welcome, South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, for Republican, said the KKK in a statement. Haley has called for the Confederate flag to come down from the State House grounds. The group's outgoing voicemail message says the government is trying to erase white culture and heritage from the history books. If you're white and proud, join the crowd, the message says, of the planned rally. Save our land, join the Klan. This is like typical, I think it's like typical, typical Sun Tzu methods here, okay, or propaganda. All right, there's a lot of history about the Confederacy, and let's let you know, is the Confederate battle flag, okay? And what's really interesting is that people got to start learning their history a little more and understand all sides, instead of what they teach you in public schools or the History Channel, and I say that respectfully. But what really gets me about this whole Ku Klux Klan rally, I'm just wondering how many of them are hired by the feds, how many of them are infiltrators or paid shills. Yes, I will say that about the Ku Klux Klan, just like the new Black Panther Party. How many of them are hired shills? I'm just curious if they're really organic or pure grassroots. I'm not going to buy the hype or the rhetoric. This reminds me what's going to be next. We're going to have Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton as the ringmasters or masturbators. I don't know. That's how I look at it. It's like bringing in the clowns. Okay, so something to really contemplate, my friends. And you know what's so funny? Everyone complain about the battle flag. How about the statue of Albert Pike, who was a 33rd degree Freemason? That was one of the individuals that started the Ku Klux Klan. You don't see them taking that statue down in Washington D.C., do you? Yeah, look that up. And remember Albert Pike, which spells his last name Pike. Very interesting, my friends. Something to think about, and remember always to observe responsibly. So you know what? Instead of getting mad at the Klan, you should go out there, bring your juggling balls, and have signs. Jews fought for the Confederacy too. So what are you gonna do? What do you say about Jews fought for the Confederacy, and some of the African Americans fought for the Confederacy, and the Mexicans too, that in Texas fought for the Confederacy as well. So it's something you have to learn, my friends. Don't think unidimensionally. always examine this a lot broader. Even myself, I'm still learning this. War between the states. I don't call it the Civil War anymore. It's war between the states, or the USA CSA conflict. Because Civil War is internal within the country. But these dinkleberries in mainstream media want to drill it in your head it's a Civil War. Absolutely not. I just talk about the stuff in my past episodes as well. So please look into it and laugh at the Klan. Laugh at the Klan. Ha 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 ha. So that's how I gotta look at it. Definitely. Always observe responsibly. Don't let these people drive you crazy or get distracted, because you know why? The people in Washington might be pulling some more tyrannical platforms and so this may distract you. So remember, keep it balanced. Balancedly focused. Alright. Next one here came from the Conservative Tribune, and I'm getting some good stuff on Facebook, which is amazing. So I hit Twitter once in a while as well, but some people send some interesting stuff here. It says here, rebellion. The state just voted to ignore all Obama's executive orders. Barack Obama is not afraid to yield executive power to accomplish his agenda, whether he is ordering immigration officials to ignore deception law or mandating certain crimes not prosecuted. Obama loves to run America by his own rules. But one state just came up with a surprising plan to stop Obama's end run around democracy. This state move could prove to be the first among many states rejecting Obama's overreach. This week, Arizona passed 2 bills to stop Obama's dead in his tracks. First bill, the Arizona House Bill 2368, introduced by Representative Bob Thorpe, a Republican from Flagstaff, prevents the state of Arizona from funding any executive orders issued by President Obama or policy directives issued by the Department of Justice. The Arizona State Legislature's website describes the reach as prohibiting this state for any of its political subdivision for using any personnel or financial resources to enforce, administer, or cooperate with an executive order issued by the President of the U.S. has not been affirmed by a vote of Congress and signed into law as prescribed by the U.S. Constitution. However, the defined bill does not stop there. It also prohibits the state or any of its political subdivisions from using any personnel or financial resources to enforce, administer, or cooperate with the policy directive issued by the U.S. DOJ to law enforcement agencies in this state has not been affirmed by a vote of Congress and signed into law as prescribed by the U.S. Constitution. This legislation, if passed, would effectively make Arizona independent of federal law. The second bill, House Bill 2643, stops state and local governments from using state funds to enforce and implement Affordable Care Act. Both bills passed the House and will move to the Senate. We support the Arizona's opposition to Obama's shocking power grabs and hope the state is successful in its efforts to stop Obama's executive orders. Democracy will better be served. So we'll share this for sure. This is a real good idea. And don't get me wrong, Arizona has its rough edges. I'm not going to deny it. However, this is a 10th Amendment stance. Okay? That is a fantastic issue. The states can tell anything that is done unconstitutionally, they can say, stick it to Washington, D.C. Because the bottom line is this, my friends, it's the United States of America, not the centralized states of America. There's a big difference. And of course, when you do that, you have to send a big message. So definitely is a 10th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. And you can look up, I'm going to add on that as well. The 10th Amendment, you can look up yourselves. But another case is Prince versus the United States of America, which Sheriff Mack was involved with the whole Brady Act, which it was a violation of the 10th Amendment. And of course, Judge Raleigh made a statement reading the James Madison's Federalist Papers 46, stating the federal government cannot encroach on states' jurisdiction. So I'm going to add the Prince versus USA, which is a Brady Act, but is very similar to what they're doing with these executive orders. So definitely, this is a real good sign, and every state in the union needs to tell Obama to hell with your executive orders and fascistic health care. Not socialized. I get a little bit disturbed. Even some conservative radio shows go, oh, it's socialized health care. No, it's fascistic. And I can have my differences on socialism, don't get me wrong, but it has some pros and cons like everything else. But when they call it socialized medicine, no, it's fascistic. You learn economics 101. But definitely, I have to say, in these two agendas, I will have to commend Arizona for exercising their 10th Amendment obligations. So yes, and I don't care what people say about Arizona. Yeah, like I said, it has its pros and cons, but this one here, I gotta give them the thumbs up. Don't be afraid. Here's the thing, my friends. People, and even all my fellow brothers and sisters in the United States of America, when it comes down to it, when you learn to better yourself and educate, enlighten, and share things with others, and try to be very self-contained at the best of your ability, you can tell the federal government, you need us more, we need you. Overall, only unconstitutional conditions, not tyrannical conditions. All right, next one here came from Free Thought Project, and I got this from, I think it was Activist Post. It's one of those two. But it says here, disabled Iraqi veteran facing life in prison for less than 1 ounce of marijuana. This is done by Matt Agarist on July 1st, 2015. As it says here, Geronimo, Oklahoma, after serving 3 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, Christopher Lewandowski was medically and honorably discharged from the Marine Corps. He is now 100% disabled veteran because of the severity of his PTSD since he's gotten out. The VA had taken him up to 13 pills a day to treat his PTSD. The pharmaceutical treatment was killing him. Early clinical research shows that medical marijuana is highly effective for treating PTSD and does not have the dangerous side effects of SSRIs. After realizing that meds were killing his liver, Lewandowski decided that it would be a good idea to try marijuana as a treatment. He began growing 6 plants for his personal use. In June of 2014, Lewandowski had a PTSD episode. His wife grabbed his kids and took them to the neighbor's house where she called the police to get her husband some help. However, as in the case, so many countless other instances, police did anything but help. After the police showed up, they searched the Lewandowski's house and found 6 tiny marijuana plants. The police then weighed all of the plant matter together and it totaled to a single ounce. However, because of Oklahoma's doctrine laws against growing the plant, Lewandowski was charged with felony marijuana cultivation. Marijuana felony cultivation in Oklahoma carries a maximum sentence of life in prison. According to Whitney Lewandowski, Christopher's wife, the police also pulled up the tomato plants and included them in the photo for the media. Police made it look like this was a huge grow operation going. Whitney told an interview with Truth in Media, which is a link for that. But that was not the worst of their problems. Police then cuffed Whitney and threw her back in the police car cruiser and told her children were being taken by Child Protective Services. They were charging her with a felony too. In order to make it look like a legitimate arrest, police told Whitney that she pressed assault charges against her. That if she pressed assault charges against her husband, they would not charge her, and they should keep their children. She could keep their children. She obviously opted to stay out of prison and not to have her children kidnapped by the state, according to Truth in Media. Whitney Lewandowski said that the domestic violence charge does not reflect the reality of her husband's behavior. They're trying to use me as a victim to to make me look worse on his case. My husband has absolutely never laid his hands on me ever. He is not an abusive man ever. Quite the opposite. He is extremely doting. The Letterowski raised enough funds to pay a bondsman and the family, then moved with the approval of the Oklahoma DA to California so Christopher could get medical marijuana he needed legally. However, he was in the care of the Veterans Administration Psychiatric Hospital. Letterowski inadvertently missed a court date with drums growing in front of all the children at his child's daycare. Undercover cops swarmed Letterowski in a dramatic raid. He currently remains in police custody in California and is awaiting extradition into Oklahoma. The man's life has been turned upside down. He has been taken from his family, unable to see his children, and is facing the idea of spending the rest of his life behind bars. He harmed no one. The Letterowskis are in dire need of proper legal defense. They have set up a GoFundMe campaign here. Please share this article so this man is not taken by the very country he gave his life to defend. I have to agree, and I have to say this to Mrs. Letterowski. Lessons to learn. Don't rely on the police. This is one thing that's very disturbing. She unintentionally trapped herself and her family, including her husband. There's other ways of solving, ironing these areas. So even people with PTSD. I have some friends of mine who have that too. And we always try to solve things the best we can internally. And here's another thing too, to those bastards in the DAs in Oklahoma. Can you tell me who the victim is? If there's no victim, there's no crime. I'm gonna look at the Oklahoma Constitution in a moment here, and I'm gonna see what they have to say about that. But I'm just gonna do my little rant along the way. But I find this very infuriating because you got people that serve their country and they get treated like some criminal. Because here's the thing, those bastards in those states, they're training the police to bring in the sausage grinder, arrest many people as possible, and you will be respected. This is why I always say this. I always support peace officers rather than law enforcers, because here's the thing, there's no victim, there's no crime. All right, and why on earth they have to use this particular rhetoric? So I'm just gonna try to look through here. Where is it? Come on. I know it's a little slow. I'm at the library as we speak, but this is one thing I usually gets my goat. Is when you got a bunch of yahoos trying to tell you what you can do and do not. And here it is, Article 2, Inherited Rights. We'll definitely look at that. And what does it say about inherited rights? All persons have the inherent right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and the enjoyment of the gains of their own industry. So could you explain to me, in the yahoos in Oklahoma, the DAs in Geronimo, Oklahoma, how does that supersede, how is that law you have in the books supersede Article 1, Section 2 of your state constitution? And we can go a little further down here. They got term limits and all that. Nah, he has a right to his peers. And you know what? Article 2, Section 33, effect of enumeration rights. The enumeration in this Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny, impair, or disparage others retained by the people. So what does that tell you? It is natural law, which is a reflection to the 9th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Oh, you didn't know? You forgot about that too, right? Yeah, typical. So, I'm going to add it to my memo. Boom. I'm going to add the Oklahoma Constitution there as well. Article 2 to be exact. So I'm just going to move it down here a little bit. Okay, awesome. All right. Well, last but not least, this is some pretty good news, I would say. Nice news. All right. And it's reference to self-defense in the land of Lincoln, to be exact. It actually came out today. I mean, not today, but a couple of days ago. It was updated June 29, 2015, Southern Illinois. This is by Len Wells. Police, double shooting with self-defense. And it says here, no charges are expected to be filed against a Fairfield, Illinois man who shot two men Sunday morning on a remote country road in Wayne County. Eric B. Paula, 26, told police he shot Eric B. Paula told the police he shot two men in self-defense after an earlier confrontation over racial remarks at a party. The two men, driving a black sports utility vehicle, cut off Paula's vehicle as he was driving home about 3:30 a.m. Paula, who is black, he said he encountered the two men who are white at the party earlier in the evening. According to Wayne County Sheriff's report, he said the two men made racial remarks and he had asked them to stop. The men later confronted Paula on Mount Vernon Road near the Fairfield Airport. Okay. Statements to police indicate the two men got out of their car, approached Paula, and demanded to fight. Paula told the men he didn't want to fight and that he had a concealed carry license and was armed. When the two men demanded Paula to give up his weapon and engage in the fist fight, he pulled a .22 caliber gun and fired 10 rounds at the two, emptying the gun's clip. Shoot. Hate when they do that. Okay, thank you. Come on, I hate these ads. Stop it, will ya? Thank you. Alright, it's one of those things. Oops. Alright. And it says here, I will continue. According to the report, Paula told police the two men were about a foot from him when he opened fire. Suffering multiple gunshot wounds were Blaze A. Greenwood, 22, from Fairfield, and Alex C. Bowerman, 23, of Crest Hill, Illinois. Both men were taken to Fairfield Memorial Hospital. Ballman was later transferred to Evans Hospital, according to the report. Bowerman told police in a written statement that he and Greenwood went looking for Paula for a fist fight. Already incriminated himself, according to the report. Bowerman added that when Paula pointed the gun at his face, he grabbed for as the shooting started. Both men drove themselves to the Fairfield Hospital for treatment. Paula drove to the Wayne County Sheriff's Department to report the incident. While the investigation is open, Wayne County Sheriff's deputies say that they do not expect any charges will be filed against Paula. They described the shooting as self-defense. Bravo, bravo, bravo. All I have to say to coroner's report to Mr. Barrowman and Greenwood, you chose poorly. You used criminal intent. It doesn't matter what your skin color looks like. You were lucky that you two are still alive. And be very honest. I don't know what is the law in Illinois. If a bystander or an assailant gets shot during a crime spree, and you're part of you're an accessory, you can be arrested. You can be charged for second-degree murder. So consider yourselves fortunate. Other places like even Florida have stand your ground. And it's not a black-white thing. This is principle. Self-defense is righteous, regardless of your race, color, creed, gender, etc. Mr. Paul did the right thing. Because we know one thing for sure, even in Illinois, the police aren't obligated to protect you as an individual. You are the first line of defense. That's natural law. Even in the Illinois Constitution, look it up, it's in there. So definitely, Paula, thank you for standing ground, valuing your life. And I will say this to anyone else that want to look for a fight, you better be careful what you wish for, because one thing for sure, If you're gonna be a criminal, you shouldn't worry about the police, but armed citizens. So this is why I am pro self-defense and very damn proud of it. All right, my friends, that is it. I'd like to thank everyone for listening to the show. Plus, feel free to download this and share it throughout your social media network. If you have any questions, comments, recommendations, love letters, hate letters, please use Decorum or send me interesting information. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, or iHeartRadio for your comments. Furthermore, if you need to email me, please feel free to contact me at LokiLuck3, which is the number 3.com. Thank you again for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. And please, thinking about that, even on this time of the Independence Day weekend, with all this mind control, with the Confederate flag ordeal, divide and rule platforms, don't matter what organization and so forth, think freely. That is essential, because your rights in the United States and the world are naturally born and or inalienable. No one can take it away. They can do write some damn letter or order or pass some referendum. If it violates the natural born rights, use it as toilet paper, wipe your rear on it, and send it back to them. This is why I always use that ending about demoniac resistance. Each and every one of us have it inside, and we can make huge impact. And one more thing, on a final note. When people talk about a good colleague of mine, co-worker of mine, we had a good discussion. And he asked me about race relations. How can we improve race relations in America or the United States? It could be the world. I'd say this: individuals like you and I, articulate folks, like-minded men and women, can have these great conversations, honorable discussions, no hatred, no animosity towards one another, but observe, examine each other's views, and honor our principles. One thing the New World Order and these tyrants hate is unity. That's why they shot Malcolm X and many others. Because when you unify people, you're a menace to their mission. Everyone should always pursue it. Don't live in fear. Crush the demoniac. Do it for yourself, your family, and everyone within your community and beyond. That's all for now. Take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.